Hello everyone and welcome back to Cornertwist and the series of mine class of sub 20 where I'll be teaching you how to solve the Rubik's Cube in under 20 seconds. Now if you are new here, every one of these videos is structured to build upon one another, so for example, if you watch the last one, you're going to be more prepared to watch this one. This is only installment 8 in the series and there's going to be many more videos after this one, so if you want to become sub 20 and you're not already, maybe hit the little subscribe button. Smack. Press the little notification bell, perhaps. But by all means, please do not hit the like button. That would absolutely ruin my day. Instead, I'm going to press your like button and we'll see how you like it. So out of the past 4 videos, 3 of them have been about F2L, where you have the introductory video into it, and then you have 2 more explaining advanced F2L and then how to deduce pieces with limited information. So if you have not checked those out, I would highly recommend you do so before watching this one. If you have watched those, then congratulations, you are ready for this video. Today we're going to be talking about a practice that I've really just given it a name, but I'm sure that many people do this. I'm calling it blind solving practice. What is this? Well, it's a practice that I've implemented into my own routine over a long time, and it's a practice that is mainly supposed to accelerate growth in your recognizing abilities and your muscle memory. Other than those 2 things, the main purpose of this practice is to prepare you for better look ahead. That term is going to be very important as we go along. Look ahead is a big part of solving the cube very quickly. Now before we get into this, I want to let you know that this practice is not meant to replace look ahead. As I've stated already, this practice is mainly meant to help prepare for it and to make sure that you're as efficient as possible with your muscle memory. Let's go into the video and I'll tell you more about it. Okay, one thing I'm going to say very quickly is that I do example solves at the end of every video, but today's going to be a little bit different. So usually I take a point and then I explain it the best I can, and then I go into example solves to drive home the points and showcase it in a way that I can visually represent what I was talking about. But today, since this is more of a practice that you'll use, we're going to just be doing a few example solves, and that will be the video more or less. Okay, another thing that we're going to be doing differently than we have been doing is I would put a scramble up on the screen for you to follow whenever we do example solves. And we will do that for the last 1 or 2 that we do, just so that way we can go over everything that we've learned rather than just this practice. But for the first couple, we're going to just do hand scrambles, and I can showcase the points that I want to make to you. So I'm going to show you what exactly blind solving practice looks like. The reason that I gave it that name is because we're going to be doing just about everything that we can without looking at the cube. So at this point, you might be used to just looking at everything that you're doing while you're making a cross solution, but I'm going to encourage you to drop that habit and try to make your cross solution without looking at it. So the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to put my cam up here, I think, unless it works better over here or something, just so that you can see that I'm not cheating. And I just want to make you aware of how much you can actually solve on the cube without looking directly at it. All right, so for this first example, we're going to think about how we're going to make a cross solution. So I'm going to probably bring this up and move this here, and then bring this piece back down, just so that way I can put these 2 relative to each other. And then I have this piece and this piece, so I'll put the red in with a 3 mover here to make that one relative, and then I'll put the orange back here with another 3 mover. It's not the most efficient cross solution, but that's okay. I'm just trying to show you what this would look like. So if we have the plan in mind, we're going to close our eyes. We're going to bring this piece up, like I said, move this piece over. Now I know that I have the green and blue pieces relative. This piece needs to go in with a 3 mover into the orange slot, and then we have the last one right here that needs to come over here, and then we put in to the back slot back here with a backward 3 mover, and then you need to align the cross with the D2. Since I have my eyes closed, I don't actually know how I did, if I got that on camera or not. Okay, so from this point, we want to then again plan what we're going to do next. And you guessed it, we're going to not be looking at it while we do it. So my storage ran out again, and I filmed for about 23 minutes before I realized. Yeah. But anyway, I think I put it back to how I had it right before we left off. So sorry if the cube's a little bit different, but bear with me. Okay, so I think we were in this position before we left off. Like I was saying, I think we're just going to insert this pair without looking. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to, I could insert with a sledgehammer here, but it's probably better to rotate to make this a back slot. And so I would just go ahead and do that like this. Okay, carrying on from here, we're going to look at our 3 edge center. That's where we start out. And we notice that we have 1 irrelevant edge right here, so we don't have to pay attention to him. We have 2 that are relevant to us though, so we'll start with them. This edge piece does not have a corner piece with any of the colors on it, so blue, orange. This one does have orange, but it's yellow, so it's relevant. This one has red on it, not either of these two, and this one has green on it. So again, we don't have anything that we can do with this one. But we can look and see if one of these 2 corners matches up with this edge piece right here. We're just going to pick one to deduce real quick, and this one, if you were to just bring this piece down, so have white come down here and then green come here, you know that the other color, it has to be orange because we can see red right here. The color over here is going to be touching orange in this slot down here, so this one has to have orange on the side, therefore not pairing up with this edge. This one, however, you have the white coming down here and the red coming here, therefore this bottom color coming here to line up with green, so it does match this edge piece. Normally we would utilize full F2L to solve a case like this, but since we haven't done that yet, I would recommend watching those 2 videos that are going to come out right after this video, and then revisiting this again if you're still having problems with it. But we're, for now, just going to be just trying to think through as much as we can without looking at the cube, and then going from there. So if you get confused at any certain point, then you can open your eyes and figure out what's going on, and then try to close your eyes again, and yeah, just work your way through it like that. So from here, I'm just going to plan out what I'm going to do beforehand. I'm going to move this edge piece over here, then bring this edge piece up, and I'll show you what that would look like. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to close my eyes, move this edge piece over here, and then bring up this corner piece, which is then going to put the edge piece back here. And then that's what we're going to end up with. And if I was confused at this point, I could then open up my eyes, see what I have going on, and then figure out how to pair this without looking. So again, I would close my eyes since I have an idea of how I'm going to pair this. This is not oriented, so I have to rotate like this, take these 2 apart, and then pair them together into the back slot like that. From here, we have a full column that's making our 3 edge center not so potent anymore, since now it's really a 2 edge center, and one of these edges has yellow on it anyway, so it's irrelevant. We only have 1 corner that we can really take advantage of, 1 edge. So immediately I look at this corner piece up here, and if this corner piece goes with this edge, then we can utilize them together and figure out how we're going to pair it. But first we have to determine if this has white or yellow on it. So if we think about this for a moment, this orange will come down here. That means that this green will come down here. And so this this green matches up with the green side, but this orange does not match up with the red side. Therefore, it tells me that it's impossible, and this is not the corner that we're looking for to match up with this one. So now we can think about how we want to rotate in order to find this one's corner piece the easiest. So we have to determine where it's not first. So we have these 2 filled. That leaves us with, well, first of all, we can already exclude this one too because it has blue on it, and this one does not have blue on it. So our corner piece is either here or it's in this other back slot back here. The quickest way to know is just to do a full rotation to the left like this, and now we can see everything that we need to. Because even if it's not this one, we know from just before that if it wasn't this one, then it had to be this one. So then we can go ahead and pair this one with this piece. So let's go ahead and deduce this one. We imagine it comes down here. So this white travels here, then the green will travel here along together with this. So then the mystery color will come here. So it'll go pop, pop, and then will come here. So it has to be orange. Therefore, this corner does pair up with this one. And this is a case that we covered in our last advanced F2L video. So we're just going to go ahead and solve how we know how to do that. And this edge piece is going to be oriented correctly for this to work. So we only need U and L moves to insert this. So I'm going to close my eyes, go ahead, pair these up, bring it back to where it needs to go, and then solve. All right, then from here, we can actually find out where our edge piece is, even though we don't see it. So we have yellow, yellow, yellow. All these three are excluded from being relevant at all. And we can also see yellow on this one. So regardless of the color on this side, you know, it's not going to be our edge piece that we're looking for. That tells us that our last one is here. And since it is our last column, and also if it wasn't, we do have this one solved, the red and blue one. So that would just tell us right away that this has to be orange. So we can see this one, we already know what it is. So we're just going ahead and close our eyes and think about how we want to pair them up. We can pair them up from the back by doing this, utilizing this bad column right here to hide this one and then bring this up next to it. Then from here, we're going to continue with our eyes closed, think about how to solve it. It is oriented, this edge piece back here. So we're just going to bring it to the front and then insert it like we know to do already. So yeah, that is pretty much it in terms of what I've wanted to showcase in this blind solving method. The purpose is to get you familiar with solving F2L cases by using muscle memory alone, so that way you can focus on the next steps coming up while you're working with a current step. Because if your hands are doing all the work and you're not thinking about what you're currently doing, then your attention can be focused on what you're going to be doing next. Therefore, you're always thinking ahead in your mind, and there's no downtime in between. You want to cut out all the downtime, and that's the purpose of look ahead in solving Rubik's Cube. It's extremely helpful. All right, I'm just going to give this a little scramble since we're done with F2L. Okay, so since our last cross solution I think wasn't very good, I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit more thought into this one. So we have edge piece right here, right here, right here, and right here. So I'm thinking I can go ahead and take the orange and put it underneath red and then make this red relative to it by putting it here. Also piggybacking this green down to blue. And then once we put that in and do a D2 to the cross, this edge will be up here and then we can put it down. So, you know, you don't have to close your eyes for this part, but just to showcase what it would look like, I'm going to close my eyes and you can just watch what I do. So I'm going to go ahead and put the orange underneath the red over here. Then I'm going to put this in right here, followed by the green. And then now the blue is up here, but we need to do a D2 first. So we're just going to do that. And then now we can slot this in using an F2. All right, let's actually start out from this side here. First thing we're going to look for is our edges. So we have two that are relevant to us. This one is not right away. I mean, look at our corner situation. All of them are yellow. Therefore, all of our options are gone out of any of those that we can use. But there is some information that we can glean from this. Since all of our bad corners are right here, that means that all our good corners are elsewhere. So no matter how we turn, how we rotate, we're going to be getting something that we can work with. The way that we want to turn is the one that potentially has the most information available to us. What I mean by that is we can see an orange right here, which is potentially a pair with this one, where over here we only see a white. And if I had to pick one or the other, I would go with this way just because there's more of a chance of getting some information that might line up with one of these two pieces. So we're just going to turn this way and keep that piece in mind. So now, since we remember that this one was orange and blue, we can think about deducing this one and figuring out if this corner piece goes with this edge piece. So remember with me how to do that. We're going to imagine this orange coming here and this white coming down here. So this orange needs to travel here to touch its orange side. Therefore, the mystery color is going to go here because it goes up like this and then travels with it and it touches the blue. So this does indeed match up with this edge piece. So we can go that route. One more thing I want to check on before I do that though is I have this potential pairing as well. And when you're doing this kind of stuff, always try to be flexible with yourself and try to, you know, give yourself the best option. Because if this is the correct pairing, this would be a lot simpler to input rather than doing this one. Because you have to bring up the edge first and then follow it up with the corner. If you don't know some kind of F2L trick already. So we're going to deduce this one real quick. We have red coming down here. We don't need to think about this white because it's already, you already know it's relevant. This red comes down here. That means that the mystery color comes down here. And then whenever this red comes over to meet the red, this mystery color will come and touch the blue. So it is the correct corner to go with this one. So if you just want to think about it in your mind, you don't have to if you don't feel comfortable with it, but you can start tracking pieces in this way. Since you know that you only need this R move to get this one out, and then the U move to move this one around, this one isn't going to move at all. So if you can keep track of this one, then you can pair them up after you're done if you want to. That's the power of F2L. Look ahead. You can look ahead and see maybe what you want to do right afterwards. So you don't have to think about tracking it while you're going through those steps. You more so want to predict where it's going to end up. So if you can imagine with me here, I'm going to bring up this edge piece. That means that this is going to come up right next to it with the white facing up. Then I'm going to move the U layer and put this edge piece right here. Therefore, the white comes here while this corner goes back. And then whenever I pair these two up, the edge piece will come back here and then the corner will come over here. I know it's a lot to think about just starting out, and I don't want to overload you with things, but I'm just trying to showcase the possibilities of what you can accomplish. In that case, you have the pair back here, the white sticker is facing up on this piece. You can then move the pair over here, where you could think about how you want to solve it. You can do a backslot solve, which is probably what I would do. So anyway, we don't have to keep track of this because it's a lot of work to do mentally, but we can remember that this one will not move, and we can just try to look for this one after we come out of this. So I'm going to close my eyes and visualize how I want to solve this without looking. This big distinction there, I'm not going to be looking at the cube to visualize. I'm going to be doing it internally. So I've brought it up here, and now I know the corner and the edge is right here, and I need to put this edge piece back here. So I'm going to hide this corner piece using this bad column right here, put the edge in the back, and then now I can either insert with a sledgehammer, which I don't want to do. I would rather solve into a back slot. So I'm just going to rotate the cube and then insert like this. All right, and then right as we come out of that, we notice that this piece actually ended up right in front of us here. And if you remember, we just solved this column. The one that we wanted to keep track of didn't move. We deduced that from before. So we can go ahead and bring that up here. We don't know the orientation of it though, unless you did remember, which is great. But I don't. So this is the part where you can keep your eyes open for just to figure out what you're working with. You can bring it up, bring it into the top layer, bring your cross trace back down, and then now you can go ahead and think about how you're going to solve these two, because it's more important to know how to insert F2L cases if you don't know anything else. Like, you want to start there. All right, so I know that this is unoriented, this edge right here, so I'm going to do the unoriented pairing for this one. So I'll close my eyes and just insert into the back slot. That one's not too hard. All right, where do we want to go from here? Well, we have two irrelevant edges right here. We have one relevant one, so we want to start there. Then we want to look for our corner pieces. So these two are irrelevant. We can go ahead and knock those. And this one we don't want to spend too much time on at first, because it has red on it and it doesn't have red on the edge piece that is available to us. So moving on from there, this will be a better one to focus on before this one, because it potentially has green on it, which would pair up with this one. And also I want you to pay attention to how we have these two slots filled. And we can see that the orange is connected to a yellow piece right here. So if this turns out to be the blue on this side, then that would tell us that this one has to be the correct corner. But I can go ahead and tell you that this one is green on this side, so we don't have to worry about that. But anyway, if you're confused on how to deduce that one, remember we always bring the white down to meet the cross. So it's going to go here, then here, and then the orange will follow. So it'll end up here. Our mystery color is on the back, so it will then hop here, then here. So that's how we know that this is green on that side. All right, so first of all, if you just want to bring it up to the top in any way that you know how, so you just do this. You don't have to close your eyes for that, because it's not technically solving the F2L case yet, unless you're coming from the future and you have the knowledge of the new advanced F2L videos that I'm going to be putting out. But as of right now, we want to go ahead and set up this way, so that way we can close our eyes and then go from here. So I actually forgot what colors were on this one, so we're going to move it back into a position where I know what I'm working with, and then now we can close our eyes and try to conceptualize how we want to solve. So from right here, this was green on the top, if I remember correctly, so this side has to be over top of this, which would make it an oriented case. So we would first need to fix this. Corner piece by turning it like this, and then now we can do a U2 and pair them up like this, and then insert. Remember, we don't need to pair into a back slot, because both our back slots back here are already done, and all we need to do is just solve this one now. Okay, so right here we need to deduce this one, which very quickly I noticed that green comes here, red comes here, it does fit within the red side because we can see orange here. This is the correct corner piece. The question is, which one of these pieces is our edge piece? Because they both have one of the colors on this piece. We're going to need to incorporate some kind of turn, whether it be a U-turn, a rotation, Y turn. Right now, all that's necessary is a simple U-turn to tell us all the information that we need to know. Because if we do that, even if we don't see this one all the way, we can see this one. And since it has yellow on it, this is not the one that pairs with this, obviously. So it has to be this one, and it has to be green right here. Going back to this position real quick, those are the only two options because, again, these two have yellow on them, irrelevant, and this does not have the color of either of these two on the corner piece. So yeah, now that we know that this one is the one that we're going to be pairing with this one, we can think about how to do it. And so first I want to point out that this would come here. This is an unoriented edge. So now coming back to this position, we have the edge piece that's going to be pairing up with this one. We can either rotate and then solve, or we can do one of the F12 tricks that I talked about in the past video. So I'm just going to put this here, close my eyes, and then do that said trick. Insert, and then now we have F2L completed. Alright, so at this point, as I promised, we're going to go through one more example solve where I will give you a scramble to follow along with, and we'll go over everything that we've learned in the previous videos while adopting this new practice in as we go. Alright, remember as you put in the scramble here to hold the green facing you and white facing up. Right at this point, your cube should look exactly like mine. All right, we're gonna go ahead and flip this around and find our edge pieces to make the cross with. We got one here, one here, one here, and where's the last one? Right here. This is actually quite a tough scramble. I can't tell if it's tough or I'm just tired. All right, so what I'm thinking so far is to make a relative cross. So put blue over top of the green right here. And our plan is to go ahead and slot down this red, but we have to do this move first, right? Because we don't want this to be pulled down. So we're going to move this like that, bring down the red underneath the orange, and then that will allow us to then bring this blue down halfway and then put the orange over top of it to then slot over top of the red using a piggyback. So then we can then input the red here, or I mean the orange underneath the red, and that will then kick up this green to come up here, and then we'll put it over top of the blue, slide that in, and then give a D2 at the end. So this is an 8-move cross solution, so it's a little bit on the lengthier side, especially if you count the double flicks as being 2 moves. Normally, if a cross is too hard to make, I would consider going to a different color, but since I want to keep things simple on you guys and just keep things on the white, we're just going to go with the longer cross solution. It'll be okay. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go with our cross solution. So I'm going to close my eyes, utilize this practice while I go through it. So first move is I'm going to push with my index finger here to put these where they need to go. Then I need to insert the red. So I'm just going to come out of home grip to do that. So put that there. And then now I need to bring this down halfway where I can then insert the orange over top. I think that's orange. I'm already forgetting. But I need to piggyback that in. And now that kicked up the green that's right here, I will then put that over the blue, put that in, and then do a D2 at the end to align the cross. Alright, so at this point I'm looking at the two sides that have green and orange as their center cap pieces, and we're going to do some deducing and see if there's anything that we can use here. So first of all, we're going to check our 3 edge center. 2 of them are irrelevant because they have the yellow on them, so only 1 remains here. It has the orange and the blue. So the very next step is to see if any corner pieces have either of these 2 colors on them, to try to see if there's a corner that can pair up with this piece. So there's 2 irrelevant corners right off the bat. We have these 2, they both have yellow, so pretty easy to distinguish. This one also, to me, is easy because I know that whenever a corner is slotted in like this and both the colors do not match, like it's pretty obvious to see that this piece should go here if it had white on the bottom, but since it's kind of flopped, then we know that that can't be the correct piece. That leaves this one, and this one has green, which is not one of the 2 colors. So what we're going to do is probably just rotate to one side or the other, which will give us a lot more information to go off of. So the way we rotate is we try to look for one of the corners to have one of the colors that we need on there, but in this case we don't actually have anything, so it really doesn't matter which side we rotate to. I'm just going to rotate this side, And there's not really anything that we need to be aware of and keep note of, because we still see this edge piece right there. One thing that we can take note of is that this was not a useful piece to us. It had yellow on it, which we can keep that in mind as we go forward. So this is pretty unlucky as well. We rotated and we got 2 more yellow edge pieces, so irrelevant edge pieces to work with. So we're still left with this one. So we can try to find its corner piece, which now this one is an option. And there's actually one really quick way to deduce this, but I'm going to show you the lengthier one, the one that you're more familiar with. So first of all, we need to imagine this white coming down here like normal, this orange coming down here, and then we need to picture this orange going to meet its orange side. So again, the mystery color will then come here. So wherever the orange goes, this one will follow. So we'll turn it once and then twice. So the orange has to come here, meaning that the mystery color goes under blue. So we know that this one is indeed a blue. So that's one way of deducing that one, but there's another way. We talked about in the last video how there are only a certain amount of colors on the cube, and you may notice that whenever you're looking at 2 pieces like this, only 2 corners will have both orange and white on them, and one of them will have the green connected to it, and then the other one will have the blue. So just by looking at this, I can see the green on this one, therefore this one has to have blue. There's no other option. So yep, I knew immediately that you can pair these together just by that alone. So if there's not anything better, which I don't think there is, we can go ahead and take these 2 and pair them up. So remember to just close your eyes and try to do that in your head the best as you can. So I'm going to close my eyes, turn it into this case where now I have the one that goes straight across, and it is an oriented edge. So all I need to do is pair them up together like this and then insert into the back slot where it needs to go. Alright, so we just inserted into the back slot back here. So from here, we just need to take stock of, again, the new information that we have. This time we have 2 relevant edge pieces that we can work with. This one's the relevant one. So my attention is drawn to this one, first off, because I know that when I see this pattern, this has to be a good corner piece, because if it was flopped, then I would know that it was bad. It's really that simple to find these. So I know that this has to be the correct corner piece, then it can line up and connect with this one. So that is a possibility. But let's see about this piece being able to connect with this edge piece right here, or maybe even this one. So let's try to deduce this one. We'll put the red down here, and then we need to turn the red here. But remember, the mystery color goes down here, so that one will need to turn here, which means that it would be under green. So if red's here and green's here, or I'm sorry, if the red goes here and the blue's here, that does not fit in where it needs to go. Therefore, this is not the correct piece to pair with this one. But if you remember from last time, we don't even need to deduce this one to find out whether or not this one has a green or blue on the side of it, because this one already has green. And if this one is right here, then obviously this one's going to be blue on the side. There's no other option. So we can actually solve this pairing, but I'm going to try my hardest to remember this piece. And once you get very familiar with the cube, you can figure out things like this corner won't be moving whenever we pair this up, because as you'll watch, whenever I solve this in just a second, this will stay here, and these 2 will be the ones that are moving. And this one, well, we're just going to try our best to predict where it's going to go. So even if you can't look ahead that far to figure out where this piece is going to end up, it's okay. Just try to remember that this is still floating around up here, and eventually when you get used to turning certain layers, you know where it's more likely to end up rather than not. So I assume that this piece is going to stay in the top layer. All right, so I'm going to close my eyes, solve this pair by pairing them together like this, and then inserting into the back slot. And just by briefly looking at the cube, as I suspected, this piece did stay in the U layer. So now we can go ahead and plan to pair these up. So you can either just bring it up while looking, or you can attempt to bring it up while not looking and try to go from there. So if I were to try to do that, I would think ahead as much as possible. This green would come up here, making it the case where the white's looking at us, the red's on the side, and the green's on the top. If you can visualize that, that's fine. So it's fine for me to do it because I'm just familiar with the cube. So I'm just going to close my eyes and do what I need to do. So I'm going to bring this piece up, move it off to the side, and now I need to rotate in order to get these paired apart and then solve into back slot. All right, so from here, this is the final image of what we're looking at. So these three sides, and we only have one more column to solve. Remember which ones you've already solved. We've already got all of them other than this one. This guy is the last one. He's going to fit right in here. And so the corner piece can either be this one or this one. And we know that whenever we see this pattern where the edges are flopped, or I mean, these stickers are flopped, it cannot be it. So that's obviously the one with the yellow on the bottom. And since we see the other one that looks just like it, we can deduce right away that that is white on the side. So we don't even need to look much farther than that. All right, so from here, we're going to close our eyes, match and pairing this. Remember, this is an oriented edge. So all we need to do is use this add column to hide this corner piece, move the edge to this side of the cube, bring the corner back up, and then insert into the front slot like this. And from there, we have a solved F2L stage. Yeah, I don't really think we need much more than that, as this concept is very easy to understand in this video. I'm very happy to be releasing a video that isn't super long for once. As my past videos have been pretty lengthy, I'd like to keep them at least under 30 minutes if I can. But we'll see how it goes going into next video, because we will be going over the rest of Advanced F2L over the next 3 videos in each of the cases that I explained at the end of the first Advanced F2L video. So be prepared for that. Again, I have had storage issues, so hopefully I get it out on time. I plan to have every video out around 3 to 5 days, but it can vary because of that reason. But anyways, guys, that's all I've got for you. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Sorcery.